to the show, everybody. We rebranded the Liquor Store Blues to the Immigrant Show because we're immigrants, and most of the people that you'll see on here are immigrants as well, which is quite interesting, right?
Yep.
Because there are a few things that we would like to talk about. Very, what is it called? It's not controversial, but it's us basically exploring the topic and talking about it. First and foremost, the recent Joe Rogan controversies. One of them does include the N-word. The other one is for quote-unquote misinformation and all the other stuff that comes with it.
Yeah.
And without further ado,
let's do it. All right. Okay, man.
Yo,
So what's going on with you? You tell me what's on your mind with this Joe Rogan thing.
Well, first, I actually want to talk about what we're going to be sipping today. I totally forgot about that. The show. So this is an Italian sparkling Lambrusca, and that went straight in.
Straight in.
It's quite good. I'm gonna put a picture of it later on. Yeah.
Yep. That's much better.
Give me more.
It's in. How do you say that word?
What? Oh, the N-word?
No, the accrual.
Accrual.
It's an accrual world.
It is an accrual world.
Yeah.
Everywhere in the business world, it is an accrual world. Except when you do cash. Then
what?
Cash accounting. Yeah, there's like a different type of accounting.
I was my dude is the accountant, but he's the accountant mug, the Canadian mug.
Canada. Yeah, that's in support of all the truckers out there.
Oh, the what?
All the truckers in Canada.
Oh, the truckers?
Yeah, that's part of like the misinformation type shit.
Misinformation. Let's see. Let's
talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first, cheers.
Salud.
And second, we'll start with the Joe Rogan stuff and our take on it. Now, doesn't mean I'm not right when I say my point of view, but it's bullshit.
What about it is bullshit?
The whole idea of being labeled misinformation when you clearly have people that have been involved in that shit, and they just have a different opinion.
Well, okay, let's give the people some context. Okay, so there's a Joe Rogan issue right now because it's the reason why it blew up is because he had these two doctors on talking about the COVID vaccine, the COVID the virus, etc. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the stuff that they were saying, it was branded as it being misinformation. They were the McCullough guy, he was accused of basically, just saying that, well, what is it, that the vaccine wouldn't help as much, etc. So mm-hmm. Joe Rogan, because he had them on his podcast, they were like, he's promoting misinformation, he's giving these people a platform, and he should be banned from Spotify. And you have musicians like Neil Young and I think somebody else are starting to leave others. Spotify and shit because of it. Yeah,
see, that's the interesting part because that same person, Dr. Peter McCullough, he's been on Fox quite a few times, and nobody's saying Fox is misinformation, right? Nobody went out there and tried to.
People don't consider Fox as a valuable source, I think. But
it's entertainment. So is Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is not
So that's kind of where my annoyance comes in, because all the fact that he's being like quote unquote canceled for having a podcast. Like, first of all, this guy started a podcast. Let me give this up real quick.
More than 12 years ago. 2009, I think he started.
Right. This guy is a comedian. He does MMA, and he likes talking to people. That's it. I don't see him as a reliable source of information. I don't think that he's there, but for anything other than entertainment. And
by the way, he's on an entertainment platform.
Right, but I he is an entertainment platform. That's correct. I think for me, what's more frustrating is that where does personal responsibility come into play? At what point do we stop holding people's hands and being like, hey, don't take this MMA guy seriously. Hey, make sure that like he's had flat earthers on there. Fucking what's his name? The Bravo guy, not Johnny Bravo. Is it Johnny Bravo?
I have no clue who that is.
He's an MMA
Johnny
fighter.
Bravo was
He's an MMA fighter.
Okay, yeah.
He's had him on. He has had Alex Jones on, and I personally have found those conversations entertaining. He's just because they're funny. Like I said in the past, I like conspiracies for the sake of entertainment because they're just ridiculous. They're just like ridiculous.
Like flat Earth.
Yeah, like flat Earth. Like these are just ridiculous ideas, and I enjoy watching. Like listening to this shit, like ghost stories. Like now, all of a sudden, there's all these rising and tapings of Bigfoot. Like people actually like have recordings of what they claim to be Bigfoot. And it's like, what the fuck is happening? It's like, why are we regressing?
I don't think so.
So it's like, holy
I think
shit.
that we just have a lot much more access to information, and we start viewing those people as ridiculous now because we have that access to information.
What do you mean? Because I was you referring to Bigfoot? Because anybody that says that they have actual information on Bigfoot is a dumbass.
No. Meaning we have we find these conspiracy theories funny. Wait, hold on. Okay, we find these conspiracy theories funny because we have the information to understand that they're not real.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right? Like,
yeah.
And some of them.
Oh,
that's interesting.
Oh, Mira?
Some of them might come in as just a different idea of, like, I don't know how to explain it. Never mind. They're just entertaining.
Right.
Like, bottom line is.
Yeah, right. They're just entertaining. And maybe if somebody could help me out with some clarity as to like why what's his name, Joe Rogan should be like banned or anything like that, please explain. It's like I really don't get it. Regardless of who this person is, again, who the fuck listens to him and takes medical advice from him? He like constantly says he's an idiot. He constantly says these things. He just does this because he likes to have conversations. If you're a person that watches Joe Rogan and you take medical advice from him, then you're a fucking dumbass. If you're like, it's the same to people that like watch Tucker Carlson and like, oh wow, it wasn't Tucker Carlson, so it must be true. It's like, you're a fucking dumbass. There's like no way around it. Those are like the two names that come to mind. But it's just like, I'm chilling right now, bro. Thank you.
Okay, me too.
But it's just like, guys, could we have some level of personal responsibility? But I guess this is the part where I start to understand the grayness to this, because it's like, should we regulate people and should we not trust the general public in knowing what is good information, what is bad information? Like, should we start like,
I mean, I think that was the whole idea for the founding fathers, is that they should not trust the general public. That's why we're a democratic republic, we're not a democracy where majority rules. Because if you think about it, right, each election, yes, there are a lot of, some of the most recent elections too, where the person won the popular vote, but did not become a president because of the electoral votes that each state has. And
Right.
that, like, so it is embedded in us to think that most of the time, the majority is wrong. There's a
man,
like,
that's a hell of a claim.
I think the truth, and listen to what I'm saying, I think the truth lies anywhere between the majority and the minority, right? Because with democracy, there's this very interesting point where you can have 51% of the population ruling, right? We're talking about pure democracy, where your vote counts as one vote, and whoever gets the most votes wins. Right? That will be a true democracy where you can, we're not talking about voter fraud over here. We're talking about that if everything with voting was correct and proper, you could have instances where 51% of the population can make all the laws for the rest of the 49.
Yeah.
So that's why, and let's be honest. People are born with different capabilities. You can get better and better, but there are people out there that have bigger brain capacity than you, me, anybody.
Yeah, there are people that are smart. Yeah, there are people that are smarter. There are people that are dumber.
Yeah, they can also view information from different angles, and they can dissect this data in different ways to come to different conclusions. And
what are you arguing? I'm
arguing that it's already embedded in us not to trust the general public, because that's what you were saying, right? That should we trust the general public?
To an extent, but like it's. Yeah, we make mistakes. That's why I said that's a hell of a claim, because how can you possibly quantify that? Like, how do you test that? I think the general public are they necessarily dumber, or they're just misinformed, or just misunderstand how to think critically. And the fact that it was even if it was embedded in our founding fathers, this is the thing that also that kind of like go into like the Constitution and all this shit. Mm-hmm. That shit is not set in stone. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is not set in stone.
Yeah,
like,
it could be changed,
it's like we've amended it a bunch of times, just because the founding fathers did something doesn't necessarily mean that we have to maintain every tittle of the word. It's like we adjust, we adapt. What I'm saying is like, then that means we need to get better at communicating with each other, at just thinking critically, kind of like what I was telling, what we were spoken about before, but like these people that are like, it's like for independent companies, let independent companies do what they want, and it's almost like only when it goes their way. You know what I'm saying? If we're like, okay, so if we're gonna implement a rule, it should be followed across the board. You know what I mean? Kind of like the vaccine. Going back to the vaccine thing is like, okay, if a private company can mandate if they want, because it's a private company, right? It's like, well, so but at the same token, it's like if a private company doesn't want to sell to somebody for special, because of you're an interracial couple, so I don't want to sell to you. It's like so then is that one okay too? You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're comparing now a right of a company to impose rules on its employees versus straight up racism. Right, which is,
Yeah, I guess that was like an extreme example.
Yeah. So I can tell you, my employer mandated vaccines. I was very curious as to why, but then I understood it, because I've been doing a lot of thinking about it, and looking from both point of views. Like, why wouldn't somebody want to take the vaccine versus why would the company want everybody to be vaccinated? Because in some sense, and very big sense, the employees are the most valuable assets of the company. They're the people that produce the product. They're the people who, in a way, they're not governing themselves because the shareholder is governing them, right? Because the shareholder can pick the board of directors, who can appoint the chief executives. So if they're viewing it as an asset and they consider this COVID virus a real threat to their economic belief, not belief, but to their economic stability. Okay. They have the right to do that. Now, I was listening to the book The Power of Habit, and I did not know that in World War I, people's teeth were so bad that it was considered national security issue. To the point where they had to, the army had to tell soldiers to brush their teeth.
Fucking Uncle Sam.
So, now you have something similar in COVID, right? Which sadly affects people who are fat. Like, affects them more, right?
Yeah.
Now, most people, I mean, it is a national security threat because if you think about it, if it
So you're gonna
impedes
make
your
fat people work out?
performance, no. If it impedes your performance, then it is not good for you if you have to ever go to war.
Oh, right. You need to be capable.
Yeah.
You need to be able to fight.
Which brings me to the other point where I don't know if you saw, but Nancy Pelosi advised the American athletes not to protest because the government of China might punish them. I mean, jail them and shit like that, right? Because there's some shit going in China. There's some big allegations going in China. When I say allegations,
Whoa, isn't that a direct threat to U.S. citizens?
yeah. And
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Hold on. All right.
yeah, like think about it.
One of our elected officials said, "Guys, come down, because you guys gonna get in trouble."
Yep.
This is the USA, bro. Come on, guys, flex. Let's see that flex. Come on.
Well, you know what the thing is? We don't produce shit. So if China decides to stop my medication,
oh my god, oh man.
So they have us in like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu
that's funny.
chokehold. Pretty close too. Like I'm not gonna lie.
Man, dude, that's so wild. Also the thing that I found really frustrating with the whole Joe Rogan thing was, like, after the guy did an apology, it seemed like it reminded me of that Chappelle thing. Was like, he's literally telling you, that he fucked up. He literally said, "Hey, you know what? I make mistakes all the time. It's like, I just do a podcast. I just like talking to interesting people." Like he's like, the guy literally said it, and then he said, "Now I understand that if I have controversial people on, I should what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna bring somebody else that has a counterpoint." He
already did, though.
That's
was on his podcast. That's another thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so like he's like telling you people this. He's like saying, it's like he's a person. He's not like he's a regular ass person. Like this guy, again, he's just a fucking guy who used to do MMA. And it's a fucking comedian and literally made a living because he had interesting conversations with people. Like he's had Lawrence Krauss, Neil deGrasse Tyson, fucking Bernie Sanders, Andrew Yang, like had these like thorough conversations, with fucking anyone, and that's what became appealing. And clearly, we're not alone, and a lot of people like listening to him, not because you agree with everything the person says. You don't have to agree with everything somebody says. I don't know if you knew that, but just a heads up, if you're a big fan of, I don't know, name your celebrity, and you find out tomorrow that
Kim Kardashian,
they put pineapple on their pizza, blasphemy. It's like, okay, move on, let it go. Just fucking, they're just fucking people. They're like, stop making other people represent you. In a weird way, stop having fucking heroes, you dummy. Oh man, that shit was so funny, and it's like, no, get the back, and even like science pages that I follow started jumping in on this shit. I'm like, well, come, guys, you're a science page. Fucking think, think critically, bro. Clicks. And I'm like, oh my god, yes, he already addressed this, and just to jump into another thing, I don't know if you wanted to have anything to say on that.
Oh, the N-word.
Oh no! Before we get to that,
I mean, Listen, to me, it's like you seek information, and there some people that seek new information, but there are other people that seek ways to look at information differently, right? I think he's the later one. I think that because he's listening to the off chance that somebody might tell him something, no matter how wrong their view was, that he might not know.
Yeah, I just think he just likes talking to people. You know,
Yep.
and he's just it's just like have,
But-
that would be so fucked up if you're able to, like, don't you want to understand the sides? You know, it's not even just like the other side. Don't you want to understand every fucking side? There's not like just two sides. It's not just, the right or the left. It's like there's so many points of view. You know, there's again, I've said this before. Like, there's so much gray in this space. You know, that we're just like focused on this, like, these details, which details matter, but like not in the conversation, not in ideas, not within ideas. Like they're constantly moving. Ideas are constantly moving. They're constantly changing.
They're
you know,
evolving.
it's like it's not, nothing is set in stone, man. You know.
Yeah, and some people have actually reverted to there's only one way of doing it, right?
Man.
Which is strange, because if that's what you're saying, then
Knock it off.
then let's apply this to food, to a steak. There's only one way to cook a steak. That's not true. You
That's
can
not true. Yeah, but everybody
grill
says there
it,
is.
and it's like, but at the same time,
that's a fun thing about the steak, because people
Yeah.
get mad passionate. You know, it's like, no, it's got to be red. No, it's got to be dark. There's got to be this. Just eat your fucking steak.
just the amount of time you cook it is a big deal.
Yeah.
So,
Oh man.
I think that's what I think that the pull and push we're facing right now. It's very interesting, because if there are bad actors out there in the world that wish us harm, most of the time their goal is not to convince you that their idea is right. Their goal is to get you fighting amongst each other, create conflict for the sake of creating conflict, and then
What they call, like,
from there
trolls.
things become much easier, right? So let's not behave as if there is no people out there that wish you, me, anybody that's living in the U.S. right now harm, for one reason or another. You know, we might have sent troops to their country, we might have done shit. They might just be jealous and be like, fuck these motherfuckers.
Would you say live cautiously?
No, because there's a thing where it's like, back in the day, in the 90s, man, when I was traveling through, well, actually in the 2000s, when I was traveling through Europe, there was a certain type of, like, behavior that Americans had. It was that, like,
The Americans
almost
living there?
arrogant.
Americans living there, or
No, the Americans that just visited, like,
oh,
tourists.
okay, got it.
They had this presence,
And what?
like
was it like?
almost equivalent to arrogance, but like just like a notch or two below, where it's like it was confidence, like, yo, I'm making products, I'm making shit. Like, I was like, oh, this is very interesting. Nowadays, I've traveled through Europe, and there are still some of those Americans, but most of them are very apologetic. They're very this, they're very that, and it's like interesting to see that shift. Like, for example, I used to really dislike the French.
Why?
Oh, first of all, they were the second most imperialistic country ever, and they like ever, dude. They owned Africa. Fucking Haiti speaks French, right in your backyard over there, right next to Cuba.
Yeah.
Like, they used to run shit.
I don't know, but
They used to run shit, and like, I had this experience where we went to Paris, and I was having a steak in a restaurant and asked for bread, and the waiter was like, "Oh, you must be Bulgarian," and I'm like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" And he goes, "Oh, only Bulgarians eat bread with meat." I was like, oh, and it rubbed me
did he
the
say
wrong
it?
way.
I was gonna say, did he say it in a negative way? It was like, oh, was it like, oh shit, most Bulgarians eat bread? Is that a thing?
That is a thing, yeah.
No.
But also,
I mean like the
not
way
that
he
he
asked.
was wrong.
No, the way that
It was chauvinistic. It wasn't like it was like, oh, you would never understand French culture, like that type of
How many experiences like that did you have?
one, and stuck with me. I was there for like 2 days, man. Like, I didn't do much of.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Could you have overreacted? Do you think you may have overreacted?
Yeah. And,
Oh shit!
because now I know French people, and they're so nice, and they're like so social, and they're like so expressive, that I'm like, oh shit. And then, I love the US, like by far the best country I've ever visited in the whole world. It does have its negatives, but but the positives outweigh the negatives to like on a triple beam. And I mean, the fact that I'm in a completely different part of the world, that it was not known up until like, what, 600 years ago? A little bit? Somewhere over there?
Yeah, dude, it's so crazy because like to me it's like 600 years ago, but the way you said it was like, yes,
Dude, like,
it is what it
while,
is. You know,
while Bulgarians were still in the Ottoman Empire, they didn't even know that there was a completely different land.
Oh man, dude, that is so wild.
And
that's so
a lot of
wild.
that. A lot of that I learned in the Museum of Anthropology in Mexico City, and it is really sad that we don't have one. Which, by the way, we will follow up with. There's another Joe Rogan incident about him using the N-word. I really want to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll jump into that.
But please listen to what I'm about to say, because it's extremely important to the way I think and to the way I view the world. And I hope I give you a very good explanation of what I have learned in a different country from people who were not afraid to say history or to present history the way it was. Like no sugarcoating, no changing of words, nothing like that, right? Which was the Museum of Anthropology in Mexico City. Over there, they do talk about the conquerors and the people that took over, but they also talk about how it was a big separation of. There were basically two different types of human beings at that time. Right when they met, there were two types of human beings. Like there was a separation of 10,000 years without any contact from one another. So if you can imagine that, or if there was any contact, it was very limited. But you can imagine how, like, Europe, Asia, Africa were in constant trade routes because that's supposedly where everything started, right?
Right.
Then something happened where this part of this land separated each other, and there was no technology to go across the natural barrier that was presented up until, 1492 or 1492 I think it was. So 10,000 years ago, human sapiens kind of like separated and were exposed to totally different environments, which brought totally different diseases. And it's very well explained in that museum. I was like, oh, look at that. Look at that. And then it was very interesting because I just finished The Expanse on Amazon. Extremely interesting sci-fi, but what it really touches upon is human nature, which is quite interesting. I haven't seen something like that, like especially a series like that, that can exactly pinpoint how tribalism will expand no matter what we do. So it was very interesting, and as I mentioned earlier, and I will say that it was all based on the tribe and the tribal identity was based on, or the identity of a group, which is, to me, those could be interchangeable adjectives because tribe and a group is kind of like the same.
Yeah,
right.
I see that, yeah.
It was based on where you were born. Were you born in the inner planets, which is Earth and Mars, or were you born in the outer planets where your parents were mining for asteroids and shit like that?
You're a different type of person.
Yeah, completely, because there, gravity is different.
Yeah.
Your muscles form differently. You're still a human being.
Yeah.
But that's how they started identifying. And it was quite... so there was no race. There was no race. Like, your skin color didn't matter. It mattered...
Your planet.
it mattered, not which planet. It mattered in what type of gravity have you been born. Because that alters your appearance to begin with.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's so... that's fascinating.
And I was
that
like, I'm telling you, dude, watch the show.
Yeah. I like, oh man, I like that idea. And then it would expand to, I wonder, like, does it get to the point of galaxy? Or like, so this is my galaxy. Oh, you're from that other galaxy.
Oh, yeah. It came to that point. It came to the point where Martians figured something out about the proto-molecule. Mm-hmm. Oh, shit, I'm telling you the ending right now.
That's fine. It's
okay.
Fine.
Figure out something about the proto-molecule. And they opened a portal to a different planet where technically you can live forever because there are aliens out there that can fix you and make you like them. And you see completely differently. You see more in detail in a way. It's like you see the structure of things. It was very interesting. Oh. So what they do, and it was a brilliant move. Sadly, there won't be episode 7, even though I wish they do. Please, fucking Amazon, Bezos. It's millions of dollars, man. I understand, but you're a billionaire. Just please finish the series.
This motherfucker got a super quick side note. This motherfucker got a new yacht built by this company. I think like is
the dismantling of the bridge.
Yeah, and they're fucking dismantling the bridge, bro, so you could go through. I mean, he's gonna pay for it to be rebuilt. But imagine having so much money. I could move a bridge if I want to, buddy. That's money, dude. It's like, oh no, it's fine. Like, but sir, you think it's not gonna fit? There's a bridge there. Just move it. I got it. That's stupid money, bro. Holy shit. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool too, though.
Oh yeah, that's fucking crazy. That's crazy.
Yo, imagine if Bezos just started. Yo, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yo, you see that picture of him I sent to you? The picture of him, he's sitting in that room. It says Amazon.com with a banner. I was like, hold on, like, for real? Like that shit is wild. You know?
He had a great idea. He was able to implement it.
Yeah, that's fucking bananas.
He was able to implement it. That's the important part. He even talks about one video where there was an order from Bulgaria and the money was like put in they wanted some books and money was put in a floppy disk. Remember floppy disks?
Floppy disks. Yeah.
But yeah, so wait, we're going on a tangent over here.
As we do at the Immigrant Show.
Yeah, for real. But so it was very interesting to me how they described history without any we're going back to the Museum of Anthropology in Mexico City. How they were just real about it. There was some sort of realism about it. And like that's what I like about museums, because that's really where you can go and see the mistakes that were made in the past, so you don't have to necessarily repeat them.
Right.
One thing hasn't changed though.
What?
People love killing each other. Like,
oh man, people that don't have that are not risking their lives are very happy sending other people to die for them. That is the crux of it. That is the crux of it. I'm pretty sure if a new law was implemented in which like the president, whoever's sitting in office, if they have kids, they have to go to war. If you know what I'm saying, I'm pretty sure that would stop a lot of wars real quickly. It's like, that motherfucker, you got to go in the front lines. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, bro. All right, Trump, you want to declare war? All right, Biden, you want to declare war? All right, that's fine. Just as long as that's a thing. But like, the kid got to be willing to go. You know. But like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm pretty sure there's not gonna be that many wars. It's just a lot easier to send somebody else's kids to war, you know?
No. Maybe we won't be involved in that many wars, but there are people out there that will do that shit for fun.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Like,
you know, so,
dude,
there's violent people, you know. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
no, they just want to take over, which is totally natural.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I understand it. It's just, to me, it's like
Power.
It's only the power. It's like, why? It's like, if you think about back in the day, right? What would cause Genghis Khan to be so violent? I mean, he
could.
reduced the world's population by like 10%.
Yo.
He has a
He
carbon
has
footprint.
yeah.
He has a carbon footprint on the world.
It's because he could. This man was just like, I'm gonna do this. It's like, Genghis, you can't do this. No, it's just slice. You know, in my mid.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But
I want to learn more about that history. Like, or was he like some poor guy and ended up in war and was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna take over. But then that would follow. But go back to this museum thing.
Mm-hmm.
How does that affect the way you view the world? Like on a, you know.
Oh, it's definitely optimistic because you see the amount of strides we have made towards understanding each other.
That's
So,
cool.
so that's why I think that tribalism will always be there. It's just gonna keep evolving because, look, one thing that I like about those billionaires nowadays is that they play with space. They're like out there pouring money. Like, what?
Yo.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Because space is a very interesting thing, right? Like, for example, there's so much space junk out there right now from what we've done so far, which is pretty much nothing, that sometimes it's really dangerous to go in outer space.
Oh yeah. No. What? Yeah.
But I think like maybe I'm wrong. So, but this is my idea, that the more we automate stuff, right? Because now you can automate accounting or a big part of accounting. You can automate different stuff, right? The need for brain power would increase, right? So we might come up with something to increase our brain power. I don't know how that's going to affect us. That's going to be like another topic. But what I've seen so far from the museum is that the more we had access to other people's experiences, the more we can relate to them in one way or another, right? Yeah. And that's where I haven't. There was a recent Joe Rogan little clip, 23 seconds, where he uses the N-word constantly, right? Without any context. And he made a statement about that as well. Then Spotify quietly removed some episodes out of their platform. Yeah, I think it was like either 70 or 90, something, like different reports to say different numbers. But anyway, that is within their right to do as far as association, right? Because they have a licensing deal with him, so they can always pull the deal, which is...
I'm pretty sure he already got paid.
Yeah, I mean,
from what I heard, he's like not getting paid anymore because he already got the check.
Okay, so no.
So they could pull his shit. He already got the money.
Yeah, and that's fine. See, that's a loss that the company has to decide to understand their identity. What I don't understand, is two things. First, why can't they just state that? Well, they cannot really state that because they're not going to be hypocrites. I was thinking if they can state that, they will, as far as freedom of speech goes, they will abide by the First Amendment of the United States Constitution.
I mean, I don't think as a company, I don't think they're worried about that as much as losing revenue. They're gonna have people like walking away from them.
That will happen one way or another. That will happen. That's inevitable, to be honest, because their revenue comes from mostly advertising.
Yeah, but my reason bringing that up is because I don't think they have to argue anything about First Amendment. I don't think that's an issue in this case. I think they're just literally removing it because they're going to lose money.
Yeah, that's possible. But so here's my... It's not an issue because he said something in the video where he said that no white man should ever use that word. at all, right? Which was interesting thing to say, because then that can, in a way, skew the language you can use when representing history. And to me, I understand why I cannot call that another person, right?
Yeah.
That for me, that's no question there. But to describe, even
But
then,
I mean, like I don't think
even
I
then,
don't
see,
think
now,
much- I
even
don't
now,
think-
I'm like changing my mind. I'm like, yeah, you can kind of describe it, but then you really can't, because. But then see, that's what I'm saying. It can communicate an amount of hate that's sometimes could be too unbearable for a normal human being to experience. Right? So
you're talking about
in that context, right? Where, like, for example,
who's experiencing this in this scenario?
the black person.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Right? Because there was this famous saying, "I'm not your." Well, should I say it? Yeah. It said the saying is.
Don't say the word.
No. The saying is, "I'm not your Negro," but the original saying is, "I'm not your N-word." And now you see how that skews the.
Because context is everything, man. And jumping back to your history scenario, not scenario, but like in reality. It's just I don't think it's a word that impacts a great part of the population so much that it's just like I lost my train of thought. Oh my god!
I mean, I have to say though, what for the Rogan stuff? What pissed me off the most? What pissed me off the most was that. What pissed me off the most was that Meghan and Harry had to say something about it too, because
who's Meghan and Harry?
The Prince Harry, I think that's his name.
Oh, from England?
Yeah.
Fuck that! Like, who gives a shit?
The investors in Spotify, so hear this out.
Oh, who gives a shit, bro?
They're like, oh, this and that, blah blah blah. The person who has direct bloodline to the people inventing imperialism.
Oh my god, dude! Shut the fuck up, bro. It's like
I've changed my mind, man.
It reminds me of that Chappelle.
In your blood.
It reminds me of that Chappelle fucking skit where he's talking about like when 9/11 happened and how terrible that was. And I don't know, I think like his kids was like watching fucking TRL back in the day. And it's like, okay, right, so we got this tragedy. We got on the phone Ja Rule, we got Ja Rule, and like Chappelle's like, what the fuck? I don't give a fuck what Ja Rule has to say about this shit. I got some questions that Ja Rule may not be able to answer. Like, what the fuck? Like, who gives a shit? It's like context matters so fucking much. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. It's like in the thing of history that you could still say it in the right context. You know what I'm saying? Like hell, just fucking say in the history, it's like, yo, there was a fucking word that pissed off a lot of people, so we don't even gonna say it. You could read it, but we ain't even gonna say it. But it's like, but to portray history, I don't think. And also, like that's that shit. It's like, bro, like how much? Such a weird feeling to have to want to say a word so bad that it's gonna piss somebody off, but no, I'm gonna say it. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up, man. Just
that's another thing. That's you trying to up. That happened to me in a bar. Actually, I have a good story about that, but. That's just you trying to show somebody that you don't give a fuck about what they think, which is very interesting because one day,
that whole Jersey flexing thing that we were talking about last time.
In 2016, I was with my friend in a bar up in Pelham. We're chilling, drinking, whatever. One of her friends come over, and we started talking about it. And he said the N-word. I'm like, come on, man! Like, there's no.
Right.
Point. Like, why would you ever say that?
Yeah.
Like, that's in the past. Because, see, that's like...
Did he say it like in a cool way, or was he like saying it like it to be insulting?
To be insulting.
Oh, fuck that guy.
Exactly. but at the same time, it's like like I'm thinking, and I'm like,
get out of here.
I'm like, what are you trying? Like, do you not see the world around you? Like, what are you trying to do? Like,
he was in Pelham?
yeah, no. Low life too. On top of that, I couldn't.
Some people want to die.
No, his daddy was rich, but
oh Jesus!
and like, and he just started saying it over and over again. I'm like, all right, like I understand what you're doing, but it just makes no sense.
You're just being a dumbass.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? I'm like, what's wrong with you? And then for people that use that word in a derogatory way, I don't understand. Like, why would you want to bring yourself back to that time? That was a horrible time. Like, for everybody, not just them, for everybody.
Yeah, it's like when people have those questions, like, "Oh man, if you could live at another time, in the past, where would you want to live?" Now, I would rather live right now. No, I don't want to go to the past. Out of your fucking mind? Yeah.
Dude, I think one in 7 kids died.
Oh Jesus
Like
Christ, bro!
Up until 19th century, like people were dying left and right. 7-year-old,
Yeah,
5-year-old diseases. No, not his mom beating him, which happens.
Yo. Also, can you also imagine that mentality as a parent? That I need to have a bunch of kids because one of these is gonna die, or a few of these are gonna go.
Dude,
you know what I'm saying?
Catherine of Russia, I think she didn't have any kids.
Who?
Catherine the Great, from the Queen of Russia.
Oh, for real?
Oh, I think she was Empress. She was the Empress of Russia. Yeah. All her kids died.
Oh my God, bro!
Every single one of them.
That is bananas. Yeah, man.
Like, and no,
Yeah.
like, fuck, I think, no, let me rephrase that. For some reason, I think that I would, if I had to go back, right? Because if they tell me where you want to go, future. Like, 100%.
Hopefully we're still alive. We would blow each other up.
No, I think it's, dude, we have so many weapons that now everything is minuscule. And I'm listen to this thought and let me think. Let me know what you think about it, because I'm curious to see. I want to gauge it.
What's up?
I think that currently we have so many weapons pointed at each other that mutual destruction is guaranteed. And it will take a very, very crazy government that has those weaponry to say, I don't give a fuck. It goes. I think that they're not, that even they are. It's a power play, but it's more of peacocking at this point.
You don't think they would actually do it?
Because I'll tell you what will happen.
Fucking
They
death.
have to. No. Yeah, human race will no longer exist. Life will continue, but human race will no longer exist, right? I think what's going to happen is very soon, probably in the next 20 years, they'll realize that the real power is having resources from out of Earth that you can control.
Yeah.
That you can utilize to expand. Because once, think about it, right now, I have a gun towards you have a gun towards me. The second I fire mine off, it will take a while. It will give you enough time so you can fire yours, and won't give me the time to move around, right? So we're both dying. Mm-hmm. But the second I have the ability to get the fuck out of the way, son.
Oh, the space race.
And it's gonna be, and that's gonna that's gonna be a boom, because
that makes sense.
You're gonna need engineers, you're gonna need doctors, you're gonna need scientists, you're gonna need influencers. Weirdly enough, you're gonna need, because somebody has to give you the right to go up there. Somebody has to have enough balls to show you that it could be done, and then you'll do it.
Yeah.
We're very, very primal in that sense, and
survival, man.
Exactly. And the fact that you're almost guaranteed survival up there, it's gonna be hard.
Right.
But I'd much rather be hard alive than easy dead.
Yeah.
And,
That's cool.
There are two things now That's why I'm so pro fucking Space Force, dude.
Oh,
dude,
man.
Space Force is the shit.
Yo, going to space. Let's go to space, guys.
Yeah, like honestly, that was something that only people like Trump can come up with, and it's so genius. It is extremely genius because that's basically understanding what I just said.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I wonder if it was.
And by the way,
I mean, I never heard anybody like argue it, but I wonder if that was his idea to go to start a Space Force, or was it a thing that was already in the works? He just fucking named it. Oh, because like that name, dude, that shit is hilarious. Operation Warp Speed for like the vaccine and shit. Like, dude, who are they? Like, bro.
And so
these fucking names, man.
Here's my salute. You want to hear my take on the vaccine?
Yeah, but real quick, I just wanted to bring this thing up about. I mean, do you want to go to another topic?
About what? No, I'm done with the N word. I mean, I just.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's just gonna be a quick thing about it kind of ties to the whole habit thing they were talking about. I'm pretty sure I didn't say it on the podcast. But I was watching this video. Please stop me if I have. I was watching this video, and it was this black woman who was a parole officer, and she was assigned this white guy, who has just gotten out of prison, and this guy, he was a Nazi. He was like a neo-Nazi. So like, you know, he was like always angry. Obviously, since he met her or whatever, like obviously incredibly racist. You know, she was a great person, a great officer, and you know, took him in. You know, did the whole shebang. And then she asked him, you know, tell me about your day. You know, blah blah. He's like, I wake up, do this, or that. So she went to do a house visit. And on his wall, on his bed was a Nazi flag.
Okay.
So she told him, it's like, let's do something. Take the flag down and put on a flag about something that makes you happy, the happy face or something. That alone had such an impact on him because his outlook on the day was different, as opposed to him waking up every day and seeing this symbol of, fine, you don't want to call it a symbol of fate because you love it so much, a symbol of separation, a symbol of isolation, you know. So like now you're immediately thinking me versus them. That's already in your head. So now you deal your whole day with this. Now, instead of this person, instead of this man waking up and seeing this, now he saw a fucking smiley face. And that alone, and obviously more stuff, but he was able to alter his perspective on the world. Yeah. You know, and like these little things, you know, they do help. You know, if there's something in your house that's like fucking divisive, maybe take it down. You know, maybe
like a religious symbol.
As long as you practice peace and, you know, just let people worship on their own.
You mean understanding?
You know,
because peace is one thing, but understanding is completely different. Right?
I see what you're saying, but it's like, yeah, I guess you could understand something, but it still not be peaceful. Like, I understand your religion, I still think it's stupid. Stab. You know, but I would say, you know, start with understanding and just be a little bit more empathetic. You know, everybody's trying to do their best they can.
It's really hard to.
And that's the conclusion that they came to. So what? Let people do what they.
No, be empathetic. Empathy is a very interesting thing. Like I don't want to dive into this because I really haven't had the chance to think it through, but there is a certain level of empathy that you need to naturally have to live in a good society. However, there might be some people that have not reached that level or do not want to reach that level yet. and those are the people I think. So it's a very it's a very complex matter, and like I'm still thinking through it. But to me, it's sometimes people might not be just structured that way.
Right. That's, yeah. I was gonna say, or maybe they just can't. They just some people were just wired differently. That's fair. Yeah.
I'll be honest. I think that, and that's so funny, but at the same time, I kind of like get it, and probably I want those people to be treating me when I become sick. And I've heard this. We'll have to fact check this one. That doctors are notoriously not empathetic towards others.
Ooh.
Because can you imagine if, I think and that's very interesting because I
like to think
to me, well, no, they might do it from from empathy, from deep core of empathy, but they cannot, in a way, they have to suppress it when they're working on you. Because if you take out the emotion, your health is not an emotional thing. Your health is a factual.
Yeah,
it's
it's black and white,
data-driven thing. Yeah. So if you add emotion to that, that would definitely impede your judgment. So I'm not saying that they're not empathetic or that they have no empathy. I'm saying that they have learned to, in a way, suppress it or bypass that emotion. Because if he doesn't see you as a machine, he cannot logically think about what needs to be changed for you to function better.
That's what you're saying.
So it's very
right. It's not.
We're talking about MDs. We're not talking
Yeah.
about psychiatrists. Even psychiatrists. But
Yeah, I was
because
gonna
they're
say.
MDs. But
Yeah.
we're not talking about psychologists. We're talking about people that exclusively work on your body. I think that it might be.
I mean, I wonder.
See, I haven't thought it through. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point to make. It's like a lot of these conversations we're like literally thinking them as we're going. So don't cancel us, guys. Dummies.
no YouTube.
No, I mean it makes sense, because you need to look at it for what it is. I think just because the thing that they have different levels of it, just like I was saying, everything else is just there's gray in between. I don't think they necessarily trying to be mean about it or bad people. They just have to assess the scenario. Right? Does that skew their judgment in the way that they will falsely diagnose something because they're over caring for you so much or something? I don't know. But yeah, no, that would be very interesting to look up. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, so. Back to tribalism, I guess.
Yeah.
That's where I was thinking that the more, once that happens, once we're able to colonize, wow, what an interesting word. Colonize.
Space Force.
No, colonize our solar system, but I kind of want to go even beyond that, but let's say our solar system, right? Once we're able to colonize Earth or Mars, there will be
No, Mars. We've already colonized Earth.
and
Right? Is that our planet?
then, I meant the moon.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're
Is
right.
this a simulation, bro? Oh man.
Thank you, England and France.
Oh man.
Like, it's so interesting because I think that once we've done that, it's going to become race might still be a thing, but it's not going to matter that much.
Right.
And the second those governments realize that, I think that's why the billionaires realized it, because the Earth is extremely interesting.
Yeah.
But at the rate that we're multiplying right now, at the rate of our needs for technology, our needs for power, our needs for other stuff, right? Like, there's a theory that the fastest way to clean up the air in everything is to make poor countries rich. Like, because then and only then, when the person is not worried about where the next meal is going to come from, they can start thinking about the future. Right? Because there are countries out there that people are just trying to survive. Still, till this day.
Yeah, right.
And at the same time, there are parts of the United States that still try to survive.
Right.
And, I think that a lot of people will suffer.
Are you saying if we had universal...
No.
Universal anemones?
No, I'm saying that if we had, or if we have been thinking about how can we balance out things, how can we do it in such a way that the competitiveness of producing a good would be almost equal without artificial, what is it called? Without artificial influence, such as like the government imposing taxes and shit like that. But again, this is something that I haven't thought through very, very well, because it might not be possible economically speaking, because there, in a way you have to do certain trade-offs. And, those trade-offs could be, for example, yes, we move everything, let's say production-wise to China, but then, which we did, right? Most of the stuff that, or at least outside of the United States, let's be even more broader, outside of the United States, which will put companies out of business that operate in the United States. Normal. But what do you do about the constituents that have lost their job? And now you cannot just continuously give them money. Because they
need to do something.
Well, they don't need to, but they want to be useful. I think most of the society wants to be useful, not survive. Not and because if you think about survival, right? You can survive anywhere. You can survive here. You can survive in a very poor country. When it comes to survival, most of us are very capable, especially immigrants. We're very capable of surviving in different environments.
Yeah, freaking immigrated.
So,
man,
again, I haven't thought this through, but there must be some sort of trade-off. That is like maybe if that company moves 50% of their production in China, then they have to somehow compensate people, somehow figure out jobs here that are in the next phase, or maybe in the same phase but better done. I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough, because like if it's getting people. Like how do you get a whole generation, or just get a whole, just change everybody's, I don't know, put everybody's mind. All right, guys, we got to work together, and colony go. You know what I'm saying? It's bananas.
It's hard. Yeah. And what is also very interesting is that how hooked we have become on information, to the point where it's like harming us, because you can, there is certain capacity that. Emotional capacity you probably have per day to give. And if you let's say, like what worries me about nowadays is that back in the day when I was in Bulgaria, the news used to be 30 minutes. It was from 8:30 to 9. You had 10 minutes of sport. You had 15 minutes of what's going on around the world. You had 10 minutes of 10 minutes. I think it was 10 minutes at home, 10 minutes for sport, 10 minutes.
It's like 30, 45 minutes.
No, it was 30 minutes.
Okay, so 30 minutes of news.
Oh, no, maybe 45.
Now you got 24-hour news channels.
And guess what? It's not like they're covering which exposition got opened today, or arts, or engineering, like shit. Right. No, they're like, oh, this happened. Somebody killed somebody.
It's always a tragedy. It's always a thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, I saw this video that apparently over at the Westchester Mall. I don't know if you saw it. It's happened like 2 days ago. Over at the Westchester Mall, there was these people that broke into Louis Vuitton, or no, it was like it's a regular mall day, but they like robbed Louis Vuitton. They took a bunch of purses or some shit. And it's and
shit expensive,
and it's like, oh my god, like the video was like titled "What is going on? What's happening?" And it's like, bro, you clearly see
robbery, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's like you clearly see two people robbing like the fucking store. It's not It's like it's not a thing. It's not like whoa, what is happening? What is this? Like, dude, there's literally two guys. They look like guys. There's like literally only two guys roughing up the fucking staff and running away with like I don't know 3 handbangs each. And I'm like,
oh, that's it though. That's
what I'm. Yeah, like when I heard this story, I'm like, why? I'm like
only 3 handbags.
Like, that's it. That's all.
Shame.
Like, yeah, bro. Go. I don't know.
Shame on you.
Like. But
Louis Vuitton doesn't give a fuck. They burn that shit.
That's what I was gonna say. It was like, bro, I'm pretty sure these motherfuckers got like some sort of insurance. Like the people that were like fighting them. I'm like, guys, don't do that shit. You know, like don't like put your life at risk for that shit, man. Like if a company that big is gonna fucking fire you because you didn't fight off these two guys, like get the fuck out of here. No, just let them fucking take that shit. I'm sure
be a hero though.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here, bro.
No, but everybody.
But that shit like it was like really frustrating because like everybody's like, oh my god, whoa. So these two idiots. It's not that serious. You know, they kind of falls to the way you say it about the fucking news. It's like, dude, it's not it's like that whole sensational shit. Yeah, you know, like
I got shit to do.
Just call the cops. That's it. We're good. All right, move it on.
I need to be useful at work.
Yeah. My bad. Oh man.
I mean, I don't know. Like with that type of thing, I kind of like it also when they stand up because they're standing up against something that's or for something that they believe it's right. It's right because now is it their job or not? You cannot say that because it's a personal choice to make. I think at that time in that type of scenario,
yeah. I mean,
that's a personal choice.
You know, you want to do this, go for it. You know, está bien. You know.
It's
but I just think you're putting your life in danger and you don't have to. I think your life is more valuable than a couple of handbags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, they just took only 6 each.
Yeah, bro. That's
bro. Whack.
It's like fucking, you know.
It's for the missus,
like
man.
Yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, oh, Jesus Christ, guys.
But at the same time, I get it because a lot of people do not have access to, I don't want to say traditional. I don't want. Like, people have different interests, right? So they also have different capabilities. So it's not like for us to believe that other people out there will be less capable or more capable of us. So as long as you find your spot where you're happy, I think that's extremely important, especially when you contribute to society. One of the most, there have been a lot of studies with people who have been given jobs after long bursts of unemployment, and they're happier because you're useful. You're doing something that you get rewarded for.
Right.
It gives you a certain type of confidence. Now, don't get me wrong. It is awesome to smoke weed all day, but at one point it gets fucking boring.
Yeah,
at one point you're like, all right,
yeah,
I am tired of this scene. And that's why. So
how much weed though? So I take
Dude,
I take a hit in the morning. Yeah,
I've spent days where I would wake up
weed every day.
Wake up, wake and bake.
How much baking? Like
a joint.
Oh, that's a lot of baking.
Put on Diablo 3. Close up the curtains and play that until 12 at night.
Oh,
smoking. Dude, after the first day, I'm like, okay, I cannot do that anymore.
Oh yeah, no, I feel like that's like a treat. Cause that shit, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. Some people can.
Oh man, no, it's just doing that too much, dude. I tell this to my lady all the time. Like, I love video games. Like, I fucking love video games. But I will not get a console because my days will just disappear.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me, bro? They're so much fun. And like the last game I played, so just to show how far back, fucking Halo.
Oh shit.
All right, and I fucking love those graphics. Like, I remember like playing the gameplay is fucking great. Like, Street Fighter, I fucking love playing Street Fighter. Then when the Batman the Arkham games came out.
Oh yeah.
Bro, I'm like, I definitely cannot get a console. Grand Theft Auto, that shit was the shit. It was like, I cannot get a console because like I said, there goes my day.
Yep.
I have a list of games in my head that like once I'm ready to retire. You know, I'm gonna get a console and I'm gonna get mad games. Like that's what I have envisioned. You know, hopefully I don't get no fucking arthritis from like fucking playing the bass and shit. But it's like dude, that's when I'll play video games.
You start taking drugs.
Dude, you know, like holy shit, bro. Oh man, but like no, they're so much fun, bro. They to me, I think like that's my addiction because there would be days, you know. It's like all right, today I would wake up. It's like all right, today I'm gonna practice, you know, because I gotta practice. Because I got this gig coming up. Blah blah blah. Let me just play a quick level real quick. 5 hours later, shit.
Damn. That has happened to me, but at the same time, it hasn't happened for prolonged periods of time, which is strange. Like, not that I get bored, but there's certain things that bring me happiness, and I found out that about myself is that if I do it too much, the happiness level decreases, right? It's the same thing. What was it? The value of diminishing returns. And I have a very high threshold of diminishing returns. But low threshold.
What does that mean exactly? Diminishing returns.
It means the first cookie tasted 20 times better than the 20th cookie. And for me, that's like I have a certain level of stimulation, I guess I have to get from experiences So, for example,
that's a good trait to have, bro.
It's
you're aware of that, but that's a good
yeah.
trait to have to be able to be like, nah, son, chill. You
Yeah,
know?
like for example, there was yesterday where I learned something about myself that was quite interesting. So I went for a drive. I'm driving around. I actually went up to Goat Path to see if Ali was there, but I didn't see his car, so I didn't go inside the store. And I continued driving over there for a little bit. I got quote unquote technically lost because no GPS. I was listening to Iggy Pop. Oh, and I was listening to this Akash guy, and man, his YouTube special is hilarious.
Shakash?
Akash Sign. He's a comedian. He's a stand-up comedian.
Where's he from?
Well, nationality-wise, he's Indian.
Oh,
I don't know if he was born here or not. But we can check that.
You know.
But
I was
you know,
welcoming new comedy.
You know what? He had this great joke. You know what a white person cannot? You know what a white male cannot have? An opinion.
Yeah.
You know what's the second thing he cannot have? An excuse. If you fail, it's your own fault.
Yeah.
No matter where you grew up.
Yeah. Yeah, you privileged motherfucker.
And the you know what's the great part about minorities? That even if they fail, it's the white man's fault.
Damn right. Shit.
Yo,
fucking imperialistic bastards.
When he said those jokes, I died. I was like, Jesus.
Oh, man.
But I was listening to Iggy Pop and driving around, man, and I was by Tuxedo Ridge, and got lost over there a little bit. You know, again, no GPS, none of that shit. I was like, I'm gonna find my way home.
I thought you were gonna say I'm a white boy, so I'll be right.
That too. That too.
It doesn't matter what neighborhood I am.
So
I'm in.
You're in, yeah. So I don't know where I was going with the story. Fuck. Something about getting lost and exploring.
Yeah.
And
GPS.
So I usually used to do that once every week. Then became once every 2 weeks. Then it became
do what? Just
month.
Drive around?
Just drive around. Yeah. Get lost. Because I think while I'm driving, I think I go through thoughts that I had throughout the day, exploring different thoughts.
It's like your you time.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah. And I'm like, fuck, like, I don't want to do that no more. And it's like, not that I don't want to do it anymore, but I've started doing it less and less and less. And because I've started, like, I want to spend more time with people now.
Oh, that's fair.
And hear different ideas because, to me, that was like, okay, well, I've thought through about something, and then I found out that it's way better if you say your ideas out loud to different people. because then you can gauge not only their reaction, but they can offer you a different perspective. Right?
Yeah,
As long as
yeah.
you're able to communicate that that's just an idea you're exploring.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. No, for real.
And you know, so these thresholds that I've noticed, it's such an interesting pattern because, for example, as far as Mexico goes, right? I've been to this country a few times, a few different places, and I would never go back to Cancun, ever. Not my type of place. Tulum, maybe, but Mexico City, I'll go back because I think that I haven't done the deep dive that I wanted to do within the city to explore its museums, to explore its culture, right? I'll go back to Oaxaca. Like the more I go around and I communicate with people, the more it's like interesting patterns emerge in my behavior where I can very well gauge what I like and dislike, not based on experiences, not based on just single thoughts. And
Yeah.
it's very challenging because you have to adjust your communication
Right.
with each place that you visit or revisit, and you take deeper dive.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Oh man. No. That's traveling is fucking sick. You know. It almost like brings the whole world in your heads closer and smaller. You know, it just makes
Yep.
it smaller because you're, like you said, you're able to learn in real time. You know, like talking to a friend or something. Hell, going to another country to speaking to somebody about their point of view. You know, that's fucking different.
Actually, I want to explore that Joe Rogan thing with the misinformation a little more.
What's up?
Now that we talk about experiences and stuff like that. Why do you think it became
An issue?
a subject? No, I understand why it became an issue. Why do you think it became a subject of misinformation? Now, and that goes back to the vaccine. I personally think that I have so many questions about it too, because I personally think that everybody that was going to get vaccinated got vaccinated.
Okay.
Right? The rest of the people, for some reason or another, they refuse to do that. Now, it is a vaccine. It is a type of technology that it is not normally administered as a vaccine, right? To which you need more information. I think that's one thing that scares people or that turns people against the vaccine is the fact that there is the amount of information that was provided to them was, or the way it was presented to them made it widely unknown and therefore very unacceptable to certain people. Because if you think about it, right, like some of the people that do not want to take the vaccine are professional athletes that watch what they put in their body. They kind of have a certain point that, okay, but other people are taking 4 or 5 medications. And at the same time, like, oh no, I'm not, like,
Right.
it will be, first of all, it's highly hypocritical that we right? But at the same time,
It's
Do you think
hypocritical
you-
by who? By the people that
by
don't
the
want to take
people.
the vaccine but
Yeah.
take medication?
yeah. Unless it negatively affects them in some sort of way where it interferes with their medication, shit like that, which I'm not sure that I've heard anything about that as of now. But
That it affects them, the vaccine affects them negatively.
yeah, meaning that the vaccine interferes with their medication or like
Right.
accelerates a disease or something like that.
Right.
Because
I mean, I think that I think you said it the way you phrased it at first was perfect. It's like the people that were gonna take it took it, and the people that weren't didn't. That's even. I think people had made their mind up already even before they knew anything about the vaccine or that there was a vaccine. Because this whole anti-vaccine thing, this has been a movement for years. This is going back to I forget that guy. This is ex-doctor who perpetrated the whole idea about vaccines giving kids autism. And even though it's been thoroughly debunked, people that are that don't trust they constantly throw this thing as like, oh, but we don't know what's in it. We don't know what's in them. That's not unique to the COVID vaccine. That's not unique to that. That's like across all vaccines. I think.
Oh, okay. I thought it was unique to the.
No, at least not from my experience. Like people that don't want to take the people that don't want to take the COVID vaccine, from what I've seen, is people that just are against vaccines in general. And I think that unfortunately that's what it is. I don't think people are like reading the chemicals and like what goes in a vaccine, and that's another thing that the scientific community does have to do better. That they have to get better at communicating the science to the general public.
But that's what just happened with this one, and it's like people started freaking out. Because Rogan did call it.
These two guys were
gene therapy.
These two guys they were specifically saying things that yes, they are doctors, but the reasons why they're a big deal is because they're saying that the vaccines weren't effective. Like they were saying things that were factually untrue. Like that's why they were like censored and shit.
But why would they be sent? See, that's why I struggle, because if that's an expert,
because they were lying, or they were either willfully lying, or they were misinforming the public and saying that, and basically because I'm a doctor, then that means my opinion matters on this. That's why like the guy was part of creating what did you say the
mNRA?
Yeah, like he was in the early process of the technology to create it. That doesn't mean that he is a person who can talk much about it.
So I agree to a certain extent with that, but what's the weirdest part that I couldn't find is extensive background on him in any publicly available website that I've checked so far, such as Wikipedia, news outlets, stuff like that, which kind of worries me.
On his history?
Yeah. Because if let's say that he was really part of that national security team about vaccines and shit like that, right? He might have information or work that might have been classified. So to me, it's like the fact that I cannot find anything on public. Like I found out a lot about the controversy that they're involved in with COVID, but as far as the credential goes, they seem to have been compressed in a way. Like you actually have to go to different outlets, and most of them are media outlets, and that's where I struggle. That I don't know how those outlets got their info, right? Versus what he's claiming. I need that to gauge how how should I judge or how should I intake this information. I need to understand what this person worked on before they developed this opinion. In a very simple language too. Technically speaking, I will need somebody to translate it to me. The fact that this information is very scattered and not available in a central source like Wikipedia page, you would think that somebody out there, and like maybe I should do that, would go and figure out all those other stuff and put it in that one place where people can see black on white, and everything is referenced down there in Wikipedia, so you can put in the link of where you found this information, which is really important to me. Like the origination of the data is extremely important. Now, Dr. Peter McCullough, he's also the most published doctor ever in medical journals before the COVID. Before his take on the vaccine. So, and he's trained virologist too, meaning dealing with viruses. So why all of a sudden he should be in the wrong? And he brought in one very, very good point where I was curious about that too, and maybe I'm wrong, but do you know of any treatments, in-home treatments for COVID?
In-home treatments? What do you mean?
Yeah, treatments that you can do at home.
Like homeopathy?
No, not homeopathy. Like treatments, like how, let's say if you have
preventables. I don't. Yeah.
Like let's say if you have an infection somewhere and they prescribe you penicillin, and you go home and you take the penicillin, right? Mm-hmm. Something like that for COVID. Because we do have, I'm aware of. Because we do have, for example, HIV is treatable now by pills.
Yeah, but that took time. It took time.
But COVID is kind of like the same thing. It is. If you listen to the podcast, they explain it's a virus that creates three types of different.
Just because they have similarities doesn't mean that they necessarily have easy access to like the same medicines.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Maybe that's on
what are some
future.
Like? Oh, so you think that? But see, that's what I'm saying, because they had SARS-CoV-2, right?
Yeah.
Which is the granddaddy of the COVID that we have right now. So they were already developing treatments for that. Right now, and that's my question: is where do you have do you know of publicly, besides people not telling you that you should be healthy, right? Besides that, because the government is not telling you that for some reason, I don't understand even why.
Well, they put on the pack of cigarettes. General surgery recommends, it may cause, maybe if you smoke, you have some health benefit, defect.
But no. What I'm saying is that.
No, I'm agreeing with you because that's a ridiculous label.
It could
So I mean, they should encourage the general public. I mean,
to be healthy.
Oh man, encourage it. Yeah,
can't go against McDonald's.
Yeah, but you can't. No, but that's different. Don't
Olympics.
legislate. You can just hey, the president.
Wait.
Make sure.
Do you think we'll have to check this? Do you think McDonald's is sponsoring these Olympics as well? The U.S. Olympic team. Who before a race eats a McDonald's?
Was it McDonald's that Trump bought for the football team? Was it the football team?
Yeah, some football team. That was hilarious. McDonald's. Very American though.
Oh my god!
It is one of
is that what you want from the White House? Bro, if I'm invited to the White House, I better get like a nice steak or some shit.
But that's very American too.
Yeah, but at least it's a steak. It's not a fucking Big Mac. It's like I could drive. Like I'm pretty sure those football players, I'm pretty sure they could call their own party bus filled with McDonald's. Oh man, that's funny.
Just chowing McDonald's. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we don't know. Maybe hopefully, in the future we could. If we could
get vaccinated,
have some more scientists, that'd be pretty great.
Fuck that, man. Be an influencer. You make more money from nothing. Science is hard.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Science is hard.
As long as those influencers agree with your point of view. Otherwise, they're the devil. Oh, man. Picking sides, bro. Picking sides.
Go out there, be controversial.
Yeah. What to call it?
Yeah. On that bombshell.
On that bombshell. Peace.